Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Sheehan from Morgans Financial, and it's my pleasure today, on behalf of our team, to announce the winners of the inaugural National Bionics Innovation Prize, a key highlight of the Bionics Challenge 2021. The Bionics Challenge is a unique Queensland-led national contest designed to encourage the fast-tracking of medical bionic innovations. Innovations that may have the ability to change the lives of those living with trauma and injury, complex disabilities and chronic disease. This year's prize of $25,000, plus mentoring by corporate advisory team at Morgans, goes to Dr. Nigel Greenwood and his diabetes neuromatics team. Dr. Greenwood's team have devised an innovative artificial pancreas for people living with highly unstable type 1 diabetes. Dr. Greenwood's new software utilises machine learning and artificial intelligence used to better understand a patient's diabetes condition and therefore enable better management. The solution includes a wearable microdosing insulin pump, and the advantages of the innovation is that it enables highly accurate insulin dosages, not available so far to those currently living with particular types of severe diabetes. In partnership with Bionics Queensland, Morgans is proud to support the first ever National Innovation Prize within Bionics Challenge 2021. We have strong ongoing focus on emerging medtech technologies, including bionic devices, treatments and technologies. We're already working with Australia's leading medical bionic firms, and it is vitally important to support the industry's future leaders. The mentoring component of the prize is something we're particularly excited about, and we will soon be working directly with the winners through the Bionics Challenge Deep Tech Mentoring Program to equip them with a range of insights on finance and capital raising. Thank you once again to the team, and congratulations to all the entrants, and certainly keep up the good work.
Well, huge congratulations to Dr. Nigel Greenwood and his diabetes neuromatics team for your great project, DNX, pancreas software and novel artificial intelligence, brain-computer interface and breakthrough pump system. And well done to you. Now we'll have a look at your video.
Hello, I'm Nigel Greenwood and we're Diabetes Neuromatics. We're building the world's first genuinely machine-intelligent bionic pancreas suitable for the people who need it most. Now, of course, type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder that kills all the insulin-producing cells in the human pancreas, so people with type 1 have to take medical insulin daily for the rest of their lives. Problem is that dosing insulin appropriately is difficult. There's a stability spectrum in type 1, and everyone else working on artificial pancreas candidates are building for the wrong end of the spectrum. The key issue with diabetes is that although the structure of diabetic glucose insulin dynamics are well understood, the actual parameter values, the numbers for each individual, are highly individual. And so dosing insulin is difficult. If you have unstable type 1, it's extraordinarily difficult to achieve adequate glycemic control with insulin dosing, as things currently stand, which is further then compounded with a cycle of anxiety. This has profound crippling effects in terms of the cost of medical care with poor glycemic control is crippling to both the individual and indeed to their insurers. To get a sense of the global market, well, in the United States alone, in 2020, poor glycemic control cost the US economy $22.5 billion per year. This is pre-COVID. COVID is believed to exacerbate things further by increasing the incidence of type 1. It's not confirmed yet, but it appears anecdotally to be the case. So our competitors, where do they sit? People with no form of artificial pancreas, about 25% of them can stabilize their blood glucose more or less adequately. What our competitors do is move that over somewhere midway on the spectrum, but they all ultimately fail. And the reason why they fail is that there's sort of a technological gradient Conventional control theory, which is the actual algorithm of designing insulin doses, it ultimately fails when the ambiguity and the instability gets too high. So all of the competitors ultimately fail because the basic problem is one of mathematics. So we've designed our own bespoke algorithms suitable for highly unstable type 1. The original conception was a user-in-the-loop form of the tech that we call Shows Me, whereby the AI suggests insulin doses, but the human user actually manually programs them. The key features that we have, again, over our competitors is that we build coherent personalized models, and for us personalized is 36 parameters for the endocrine system of each individual, as compared with at most 6 parameters for our competitors. We handle complex meals, and our AI not only advises insulin, it troubleshoots implications of possible ambiguities. We scale to complexity, so as the various technologies get better, so too does our algorithm. This technology was all validated by a panel of international judges in the IBM Watson AIX Prize. We achieved 4 world firsts here. And as a consequence, we were listed as one of the 10 semi-finalists in the X Prize in 2020 worldwide, the only one outside Europe and North America. This is the technology in action. We get medical history and literally evolve coherent models, multiple models, and then the AI translates that into a dosing strategy. This is the user-in-the-loop version, which is Shows Me. Then if we fully automate it, we can improve a significant improvement yet again. So this is the fully automated bionic pancreas. The key problem here was that we needed an insulin pump that was capable of micro-bolusing. Fortunately, we found one made by SFC Fluidics in the United States. So we've partnered with them to build the AI pod. So this is their pump. It achieved breakthrough device designation in 2020. We're also going to add an additional sensor for anxiety and distress and hypodetection. We've got a very strong IP position in patents and strong traction recognition, including being showcased by the UN at the Global Summit in 2019. We have a strong team that's internationally eminent, both in the technology and in commercialization. What would we use the funds for were we fortunate enough to win a prize? First of all, we'll build the controller in a clinically appropriate computing tablet, which we can then show to investors and clinicians. Then we would interface with the pump and the sensors. At the same time, we'll be using that same controller in the clinical study for Shows Me, the pocket endocrinologist. And again, because this is user in the loop, it creates comfort and while we demonstrate the efficacy and safety of the underlying technology. Then we would translate this over into the bionic pancreas itself when dealing with customers and medical insurers. That's the roadmap for the regulatory and commercialization pathway, with the top line being the user in the loop, and then we'll do the clinical trials for Stabilizers Me with a release of 2024. Strong available markets with big revenue figures being expected. And initially, again, Shows Me, user in the loop, create comfort in the technology before then managing the translation over into the automated bionic pancreas. Alternatively, we could float the price by collaborating with the medical insurers during the clinical trials, establishing a strong value proposition for our eventual customers. So that's our broader capital raising strategy. Now, we've solved the key problem that's stopping an artificial pancreas for unstable type 1. Now it's time to disrupt.
Congratulations, Nigel, and your team. It's been so wonderful watching your presentation. Thankfully, I've been able to watch it 4 times. I've nearly understood what it is you're doing, but what I do know is if you're successful, you change the world, and I think that is so terribly exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about what this prize means for your team in tackling this intractable problem that you're starting to bend your head and your skills around and seemingly starting to make headway.
Yes, well, winning this prize is enormously important in terms of credibility and traction, and organising. Essentially, it's a moonshot. So we're first planning to do a clinical study with the user in the loop configuration, and then build on that subsequently with this roadmap onwards and outwards. So it's going to be a challenging path, but it makes an enormous amount of difference when we have this kind of support to assist us in the next 2 years in first of all doing the user in the loop version, and then moving beyond that to the fully automated configuration.
And I love that you have those early go-to-market traction milestones as well. So it's not like you're waiting for the moonshot. It's not like the business can't progress. But as you go forward, the software licensing and the understanding and data and insights you build become marketable and valuable in their own right, don't they?
That's right, absolutely right. We've had interest from pharma because from their perspective, I mean, first of all, there are potential insights with the insulin dosing on a course scale, improving how they design their doses for different cohorts. And also from a research use only perspective, when they're developing other interventions such as drugs that affect insulin sensitivity for type 2 diabetes, the idea that when they're doing clinical trials in a research context, then there's a potential intervention that will denoise the problem of glycemic control is hugely important to them.
And Nigel, I think one of the things with your particular innovation, obviously the global market for type 1 diabetes is absolutely huge. We think about the different levels of intervention that your options with the product really, or the mix of elements that the innovation includes, really offers a lot of options for the end user. And I think about Indigenous populations in Queensland and in Australia. That in itself is a unique segment with its own needs. And maybe if you can comment briefly to the types of end users, really that variety that you're seeing that could be reached by the different options that you're pointing to with the innovation.
Yes, well, I mean, that's one of the important things. Well, one of the problems with the artificial pancreas project, with the sort of the global race, is it tends to be dominated with an engineering mindset whereby you simply automate as much as you can, and that is the happy place. Whereas in reality, of course, different people strongly desire different levels of control and explainability, and certainly clinicians very strongly emphasize the importance of explainable AI. If you're going to have any form of AI, it must be clinically appropriate. So you have to have explainability, you have to have interaction, so that a clinician can look at a projected insulin strategy and say, well, what's the overall insulin on board you're projecting for this? And the AI has to be able to respond, and then the clinician can say, well, actually, I think that's a bit much. So let's lower that a bit and recompute, and it has to be able to do that. And those same issues also are echoed with the end users, that you have to have the ability for the user to say, well, what is it that you're proposing, and how does this interact with meals, with sleep, with illness, with exercise? And so you need a very sophisticated, from a mathematical perspective, you need a very sophisticated solution that's appropriate for a lot of individuals with a lot of different needs.
Wonderful. I think I can see Dr. Jenny Gunton in the background there. Dr. Jenny, would you like to join the call as well? We can bring you into the stream. I know you'd like to celebrate the moment with your team.
Yeah, it's really great news. And we've been working on this on and off for many years now. I have a number of patients who are basically just itching to go, and this will actually give us the seed funding to actually let them loose on it. Interestingly, I actually have a patient who used to work for IBM who has had her own go at looping her pump and
Really?
sensing. So she's very keen to try this out, because even from an IBM employee, she can't quite make it work. So it'll be great to get it into some of our patients and see how we go.
And Jenny, with the BCI, the brain-computer interface aspect, just tell us what your thoughts are on that inclusion.
Well, Nigel and I have had many discussions about this. People do things that people do, and so we need to have this adaptive component to the software, because most of us don't have the same routine every day, and many people will forget to plan their pumps and so on. So having these interfaces gives like the real life aspect to the glucose control. And what most people want with type 1 diabetes is not to spend all day, every day thinking about it.
Right.
This might give them that freedom.
Yes.
Fascinating. Isn't that so true? And having that understanding and insight when helping people, when you don't have the condition, right? You have to really walk in their shoes and deeply understand it. And I just love the idea of collecting myriad data points and then running that through the AI and just building and building and building on that until you can almost anticipate what's going to come next is so exciting.
And I actually love the fact that you've started at that brittle end of type 1 diabetes where it's highly volatile, because I think if you can really nail that difficult end, the end that others haven't managed to nail, I think you really will offer a wider value then across the full suite of diabetes. So I'm incredibly excited about that.
Me too. I mean, it's a moonshot, but we can really make out the moon quite clearly. And I think that if we wanted to find an ambitious project that actually changed the healthscape of the world, you're it.
Yeah,
so we're really so thoroughly excited that you're such a deserving winner, and can't wait to see where you take this contribution on your journey. So congratulations again, and well done.
And congratulations. Who's sitting there with you, Nigel?
This is Alex. This is my long-suffering coder. He takes my my computer code and makes it elegant, which is another moonshot all of its own.
Yes. Alex, I could tell, I could see through the screen your mind ticking away at the next little solution coming. So I'm very, very excited that you're here today as well.
Wonderful. Well done, team. Congratulations again. We can't wait to work with you through the next stages of the journey, and just wonderful to have you on board this year, and such deserving winners. So well done.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.